I have a 2023 Chevy Tahoe and Ford Expedition here. This is a high country, and then this is the Platinum, which are the highest trim levels for these two models. Which one is the better buy? Let's find out. Special shout out to Larry H. Miller, Super Ford here in Salt Lake City, and Jerry Seiner, which is also in Salt Lake City, for allowing me to do this test and lending these vehicles out to me. Now up front, the Ford and the Chevy are going to be pretty similar. Now on this side, you're going to have a reflective style low beam and high beam LED with fog lights down below. Accent lights are also going to be LED with turn signal. Parking sensors are pretty much all the way throughout. And this one does have a frontal camera. And overall, the styling is actually pretty classy, I would say overall. But on this side of the house, you can see that this has the same setup for the headlights, reflective style, and the accent lights for the turn signals. But there is no fog lights on this side. Here's the frontal camera for the Tahoe. And both SUVs do a pretty good job of hiding the parking sensors. They don't really stick out in your face, and I do like that. Now let's go ahead and pop the hood. Now as far as the standard engines go, if you get a high country Tahoe, you're gonna get this 6.2 liter standard 10-speed transmission, 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. This is a beast. Now there is an optional 3-liter Duramax available for this truck as well. So if you do a lot of highway driving and you want to get close to 27 miles to the gallon, you can do that on this side. Now Ford does have their secret weapon, which is the EcoBoost. This engine is probably one of the best in the segment for all-around performance. And what I mean by that is V6 means you're going to get great fuel economy on the highway, and turbocharged means, well, you're going to fly down the highway too if you're needing that power to get around somebody. You're going to have 380 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque, made it to a 10-speed transmission. However, there's only a high-output engine available above this one, and it's not available for the Platinum. So I think the win goes to Chevy when it comes down to the powertrain, because you can get that diesel, which gets you probably, like I said earlier, anywhere between 23 to 27 miles to the gallon on the highway, if not more. Now as far as tire and wheel selection goes, 22-inch wheels are an option on both sides. They are wrapped in a general grabber on the Ford, and these are going to be Bridgestone tires on the Chevy. As far as the running boards go, this has a black appearance to them, nothing really special about them. On Ford side, they do have like a paint to match the overall SUV with like a small polished trim piece right there. But listen, I think where Ford wins is when you unlock the doors, the running boards come down. So let me just kind of give you an idea what that means. So if you lock it right here and you slip your hand in, they pop down. I love that. Now for the Chevy, it does not do that. Now as far as the mirrors go, I like the overall appearance of these. And they give you a polished look on the Ford side versus that color match for the Chevy. Lights right there, but look how big this trim piece is on the Ford. I think they should rethink this. Chevy's is a little bit better. It's kind of hidden away, and it doesn't like stick out like a sore thumb like on the Ford. Polished look going down the sides, and it's gonna be typical for both of these SUVs. And I like the door handles on both sides. They give you that paint and then that polished look. Really, really nice. You get smart key system on the back doors on both sides. So again, kudos to both of them for doing that. And out back, listen, I love a clean look. And I think Chevy really cleaned up the back end of this SUV because they hide the windshield wiper. Now on the Ford side, they do not hide it. And yeah, it just sticks out to me personally. And Expedition is a lot of letters, so there's just a lot more going on the back ends. So I think I like Chevys a little bit more. Now where Ford wins back here is these are full LED tail lights. Chevy cheaped out and gave you some turn signals and reverse lights for incandescent bulbs and your brake light here. And that's because you have a Yukon and an Escalade, so they have to make this a little bit cheaper in some places, right? Parking sensors out back. They hide the hitch. Love the quad exhaust on the Tahoe. Ford doesn't have that because of the V6. I shouldn't say that. It's not because of the V6. I'm just being a butt. But yeah, it's because this has a really burly V8, so it sounds a lot better than what this would. So why spend the money for quad exhaust? Now, as far as the interior goes, let's kind of hit the highlights here. So the door card on the Tahoe is really beautiful. Black interior, most people like this. And I think that they do a great job with the soft touch. Soft touch all right here. And down below right there. You can power fold the mirrors on both sides. And even up top here, soft touch, nice wood trim piece. And yeah, Bose sound system, 10 speakers. And then you're gonna have a 10-way seat too. Here's some of the leather that they're using too. Really nice design. They stitch high country there. But let's go ahead and check out the Fords. Now, Ford went about it a little bit different than Chevy did. And I think I like Fords better. I mean, they have pretty much the same functions. As you saw, seat memories, all that good stuff. They have 3 seat memories on this side, however. But the overall stitch, leather, there's a lot of soft touch. Now, this is hard plastic right there, but look at this design for the leather and stitching there. It's really nice. But there is noticeably hard plastic on both SUVs down below. Now, that Bose sound system is a 10 speaker over there. This is a 22 speaker B&O sound system. Yeah, GM can't touch that. That is ridiculous. Now, as far as the seats go, you have the same seating controls right there. And these seats are a little bit more plush for the leather. It's a little bit tighter on the Chevy side. Power steering column, and then here's some of the controls on the side. Now, you do have power pedals down below. So when you set up your memory for your seats, you can set up, I believe you can set up the pedals and the steering wheel. Chevy has 2 settings for memory as opposed to the 3 on the Ford. Power steering column's right there. And does this have power pedals? I don't think it does. I don't think it does. Nope, it does not have power pedals. For some reason I knew it didn't, but I wanted to just check to make sure. Now, as far as the fit and finish goes, up top here, you do have soft touch on the dash, and it's pretty much all the route. And 12.3, 10.1 screens. And I think that this is a very easy to use, stylish interior. Love the controls for the gear selector. And even down below, you have a wireless charger, 2 USBs, 12-volt plug, cup holders, place to put your phone. And then check out in here, 2 more USBs with the deep storage there. So on the Ford side, there's actually a noticeable gap in the dash right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's hard plastic all throughout here. And there's a little bit of leather here with stitching, but it's just on the front. I think that Chevy's just looks a little bit nicer, and it's just done well. But here's where Ford wins. All right here, it's just really done nicely. And you have a 12.3 inch screen again here, but this is a 15.5 inch screen right there. And I do like the covers that you get down below. It just cleans up the interior, and there's not as many buttons for the Ford. Now, you do have 4 auto on this side, and let's go ahead and start this one up here. Let's go ahead and kind of go through. So here's just the overall display. I don't really like the overall styling of this personally, but it is simple. I do like this, however. I think this looks cool. And it has like a lot of nice functions. So if you put it in reverse, obviously you're gonna have 360 camera view right there. And Ford allows you to kind of zoom in to where you want to see things like that a lot. There is a camera view out back too. Oops, wrong button. Like this. And if you want, you can zoom into your hitch if you're backing up to a trailer. But wireless chargers there, 2 USBs, cup holders. Now, is there any more USBs in the interior? I don't see any up here, but there is a 12 volt down below, but there is no more USB, so GM does take the win there. One more 12 volt there, little storage up top there. Now here's some of the controls above. I think that Ford has the bigger panoramic sunroof. And I do like how they finished all this in the same color. And you still have that two-tone with the black. Looks really good. Now I have to admit, Chevy's camera system is better because I just think it's easier to use. All the camera views are down below, easy to get to. If you don't want the bird's eye, you can turn it off easier. It's just so much more well thought out. And I think theirs is just a little bit better. Now I do like the fact that you do have hard buttons for like the heated and ventilated seats. On the Ford side, everything's controlled through that screen. Some people prefer hard buttons. So I am one of those people too. I like both. I like the screen, and then I like to have the opportunity to use the hard button. So I think Chevy wins there. But as I mentioned, I do like Ford's, Center a little bit better because it's just a little bit cleaner and a little bit more well thought out. Now, something I did not mention, did the Ford have heads-up display? Because the Chevy definitely does have heads-up display. And the roof, here's some of the controls. And yeah, I think the sunroof is a little bit bigger on the Ford side, a little bit bigger. Now, I personally do like these animations that Chevy gives you. And I think that their gauge cluster is a little bit better thought out versus the Ford. But I think I might have misspoke on the Ford. I think that has a 12.4 cluster versus 12.3. And they have a 15.5 versus 10.1. So yeah, Ford wins on the screen sizes by far. And I think that they win too also with the storage. Like this is a little small cubby storage that Chevy gives you. Not sure what you can get in there, but I think I like the storage better on the Ford side for sure. Now as far as the second row goes, they provide 2 Type-C USBs, heated outboard seats, and then you have a single climate control out back. So 3-zone climate control is what this has. Now right here, you have a 120 volt plug, and this one is an 8-passenger. Ford may have that availability, but it's very rare to see a high trim level with this. So this would be considered 8 passengers. Grab handles right here. Air vents are on the roof with some lights. And let's check out the Ford. One thing I want to point out, neither one of these SUVs have a shade out back. And I think that's something big because even though the glass is tinted, it's still nice to be able to have a little bit extra shade if you have a baby back here. Same thing goes out back, single zone climate, outboard heated seats. Okay, so they do give you a Type A and a Type C back here. And then you have a 120 volt. And then you have a 12 volt down below here. But I think that Ford feels bigger for the interior. Like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm looking up front here, and this definitely feels a little bit bigger. Like even the seats feel further away, and yeah, I do like the fact that this does have the split through. But of course, you can get that on both SUVs, so I'm not going to count that against Chevy. But yeah, the third row seat has power seats, Type A USBs, and then one more 12 volt out back. Let's go ahead and check out the Chevy. Now that I'm back over in the Tahoe, the Ford appears bigger on the front of the SUV here. I think the roof's a little bit lower, but here's the air vents above. Right there, lights. And they do use Type-C USBs out back. Cup holders. But these rear seats do not recline, so that might be a negative for some people. Now out back, you can tell that somebody's been copying somebody because they both have the option to pop the rear hatch. And that is a nice function there too. Now what I like about Fords is that they actually give you a handle that you can pretty much grab down so you don't get your fingerprints on the glass. And then check out your storage out back here. Great storage. And if you need to drop the third row seats, they are powered. And they will go back up for you as well. Chevy's trunk area with the third row seat up is definitely bigger than Ford's. However, if you want to put the seats in the third row down, you do have to hold the buttons. I'm not sure why they did that. So as you can see right there, you have to hold them until they go all the way down. On the Ford side, all you gotta do is just push the buttons and they go down by themselves. Now, they are pretty quick, but it would be nice if they were just automatic. So, there's that. Now, as far as the Philly combine numbers for the Tahoe, 18 and 14 is what they show with a 16 combined. Although Ford shows 22-16 with 18 combined, but Ford definitely wins there. But price point, starting MSRP for this is $85,865 without destination. There's not a lot of options on this package here, so all-in price is $91,795. So that's not too bad because it pretty much comes standard with most of the stuff that you would get. Now Chevy's gonna win the price because not only does it start a lot cheaper, this one has like a lot of crazy options. Like it has like catback exhaust. These black wheels are the most expensive wheels you can buy on this SUV. And then it has a few blackout options here. And it's still cheaper than the Ford is at $89,380 with those options. So if you took some of that stuff off, with the exception of maybe the wheels, if you get like a regular like aluminum or alloy style wheel like you see on the Ford, it'll probably be a little bit less money compared to these blackouts. Last but not least, let's go over the towing numbers. So on this side, this can tow up to 8,100 pounds, and it has a payload of 1,427 pounds. Now, as far as Ford goes, they don't give you the towing capacity, but if you don't get the max trailering, it's about 6,000 pounds. But this one, the way it's set up, is around 9,100 pounds for towing. And then here is the payload capacity, 1,550 pounds. So this does have more payload, and yeah, I would say that they're about the same in terms of the options. So Ford definitely wins the payload battle and the towing capacity battle, guys. But I hope this video was helpful. I wanted to get them side by side to show you because it's very rare that you have a chance to see a high country and a platinum in the same setting. So if I had to choose, I would probably mostly choose between the powertrain. So I do like the fact that you get a diesel, but I really like the interior better on the Ford personally. So let me know in the comment section which one you would pick.